Hey folks, um, due to coronavirus and all that pandemic stuff, it's deadly quiet in the store, so I'm going to do some more videos here. And today I'm going to do some on picking hazards, safety stuff, kind of in the, seeing as the virus thing is happening and all that, I figured, well, might as well relay some of the problems and hazards in this business. So first of all, when you're walking through tall grass and going through bushes and stuff, watch out for this. Yes, that's a wasp hive in the low bushes. Now, can you imagine kicking that aside or knocking it with your knees? Yeah, that one we spotted in a farmyard one time and avoided it like the plague, luckily. And in the next photo, which you'll see here as we get closer, and right here is what that board and rock is. Yeah, so that's an open well, and it was deep and full of water, and there'd be probably no getting out of it once you fell down. Although with the corrugated sides you might be able to climb out, but if you broke a leg or something, have fun trying to get out, especially if you're alone. That's why I usually go into farmyards with, well, not usually, always with permission. I also like to have the farmer nearby or owner nearby so I can ask questions and find out where some of these hazards are to avoid them. A lot of times the wells are directly out the back door somewhere along the way, but sometimes they're randomly around the yard, it seems, and a lot of times you won't see them. In some cases you'll come across them with boards over top, and the dirt has blown over top, the grass has grown over top of them, and you won't even see them. So when you're in these yards, don't just randomly walk wherever. Be aware of what's happening under your feet, because if you feel something crack, you may be standing on on some of these boards that are covering a well. And if you go through, you could be looking at an end-of-life situation. So watch out. Now, when you're cruising the back roads, you've got to be aware of the signs, literally the signs, the road signs. Especially if you're in an area you're not familiar with, if you're looking and picking and seeing buildings and looking around, you tend to ignore the signs that are posted. But you really need to be aware of them, like this one. And this one. And this one. Especially if you're driving a big cube van or something. So you end up driving on that in after it's rained, or if it's raining or snowing, and you get stuck halfway down and there's nobody around. Then you got to walk to the nearest farmyard, which could be miles away, to get a tow. So you got to watch for those. Yeah, and just be aware of road conditions. You'll see in the following photos, I got into a little trouble on one. Yeah, on that one, I just literally pulled over. It looked just solid, and then ended up starting to pull away and sunk down to the axles. So you got to watch out for road conditions. especially if you're not in an area you are familiar with. Kind of err on the side of caution. And you can see some of the photos there as well of deer hidden in the bushes and off in the distance and such. And again, they're not small animals either. You can end up doing some major damage, dying. So watch out. Just be cautious. And even swerving for small animals and such, it's a immediate reaction to swerve. And in a lot of cases, don't try to go over top. In a lot of cases is better than trying to swerve, because you swerve and you're coming into oncoming traffic, or you end up losing control, especially on a gravel road. Just got to really watch, as you tend to do a lot of driving in this business. Anyway, some other wildlife to watch for include the white and black stripy creatures, in particular skunk. We have lots of them. If you find a really friendly one, it probably has rabies. It's not being friendly just for the heck of it. It's probably not of its right mind. Maybe aggressive. Could bite you, if nothing else. If you're lucky and don't get sprayed, you may end up bit and have to go for rabies shots. So that's not fun, and in the middle of nowhere, it's not advisable. So, and another striped character to watch for, the white stripe down his nose, you'll see badgers, and you don't want to corner a badger. Generally, you won't see them; they'll avoid you, but you corner them, and they can be very aggressive. So, that's them. And there's always the cold-blooded variety of animals too, including snakes. Now in Manitoba we have garter snakes, hognose snakes, and a few other varieties that they're not poisonous at all. Your worst thing is slipping on them or being startled by them, so we're lucky here. In the US, not so lucky. They got rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, and that sort of thing in certain areas, so we're lucky here that we don't have those and don't have to watch for those. Another cold-blooded creature is snapping turtles, so you don't want to be messing around with them and get your fingers anywhere near their mouths. They can flip around fairly quick and snap a digit off, so just avoid them. And the last photo, you'll see another creature, black and white animal as well, but that's my pup, Patrick. Lost him a couple years ago to cancer, unfortunately. But he had an encounter with a porcupine. That's the thing sticking out of his snout. Now, when you're reaching into holes, into crawl spaces, cellar spaces, into holes in walls, and that sort of thing, watch out, you may come back with a handful of quills. It's happened before. You'll see images on the internet of people with a face full of quills or handful of quills. It does happen, probably more often than people will admit. And not to me, thankfully. I tend to, before going into buildings, you tend to bang on the doors, bang on the walls, and kind of give critters a notice that you're coming, and scare them off, hopefully. And so you can hear them. Another thing to watch for is raccoons. The main worry there would be startling them, or cornering them by accident, or dealing with their feces. Yeah, the their feces can carry a parasite, especially around when it's around areas of human habitation. They can carry a parasite that eats your brain. So literally eats your brain, like the zombie eat your brain. It gets in there and starts chomping away. So wear a mask, wear gloves, dispose of the mask and gloves after. That was a picture of raccoon feces. Yep, probably the only one on YouTube to have pictures of raccoon crap. Anyway, another critter to watch for, not necessarily animal, but insects. You've seen the wasp nest or hornet nest, but the critters we tend to try to avoid around here, mosquitoes. Really tough to avoid. Just wear your mosquito repellent. And wear your repellent. That's the main thing. There's all kinds of, I've heard all kinds of tricks, including wearing a bounce sheet under your hat. Bounce dryer sheet. Yeah, apparently that's a keeps them away. Don't know about that one, but I don't know. Tried it. It's sort of worked. But anyway, so watch for the insects. There's not really too many other than black flies, biting insects, and that sort of thing. So just wear your insect repellent. That's the thing to watch for. And bees is another one. Spiders, don't really have to worry about spiders too much here. We do have black widows apparently. I've never encountered them while picking. I've seen one or two in my lifetime, but I've never encountered them while picking. But bees, I've encountered them. I'll tell stories about them probably in the future, including one where I ended up in a situation with bumblebees. So you might want to seek out that story. Hopefully I have it in there somewhere. But so you got to watch for them. And the next one are plants. The couple plants I've got pictured are one's cactus, prickly pear cactus, and we also have ball cactus here in some areas. I lived in an area that had ball cactus in the fields and such, and you step on them or you get them in your hands, the spines, they're not pleasant. It's like having 1,000 slivers. So you gotta watch for those. And the other one is poison ivy. You'll see poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac apparently as well in some areas. We usually watch for just poison oak and poison ivy. That's what tends to be around. So watch for them. Forgot. Wood ticks. Wood ticks here potentially carry Lyme disease. As well as can carry some other illnesses. So we have to watch for those as well. Take them off when we get them. People are kind of skeeved out by them, but when you get used to them, and you just end up pulling them off and dealing with them. But you don't want to leave them on for long. Within 24 hours, I think, is if you have it on for 24 hours, you can potentially be contracting Lyme disease. So you got to watch. So that's some of the hazards, and I'll probably do another video on picking hazards number 2. There's lots of stuff to watch for, so we'll give you some more tips and hints on what to be careful of. So, safe picking, happy picking, take care.